Hey everybody, today Rahdo runs through corrections. Corrections, mea culpas, and shooligansies. You know the drill. Let's get right to it because I've got a bunch to do. I think I've got 11 games I am issuing corrections or updates for. And let's just jump right into it, starting with one. Actually, I don't even think I've uploaded this video yet, but it'll be uploaded today or tomorrow for a game called Warband. FYI, Jen over there is choking on her watermelon. Are you okay, honey pie? Okay, apparently the watermelon went down the wrong pipe. You're gonna be okay. You don't need a Heimlich. All right, sorry. Let's get going. First one, Warband. A game that's on Kickstarter right now, and the run through, hopefully it'll be up by the time you see this, but just bear in mind in that run through, what was it? Okay. Oh, I mentioned in passing that you know, the area majority portion of the game, you know, whoever has the most scouts in an area scores points for that area, and the person who comes in second, you know, gets like 1 point or 2 points, something like that. I was wrong. Whoever comes in second gets nothing. It's all or nothing with the scouts area majority in Warband. Just a little quick proviso, FYI. Moving on. Galaxy Trucker. Okay, got a few things wrong there. One, just kind of a dumb thing, when I actually started the second half, the actual trucking portion of Galaxy Trucker, because we were in the second round, I should have, and I was in last place, I should have started 3 spaces behind Jen instead of 2. Dumb little thing, but a lot of people pointed out, and I was fundamentally wrong there. You know, because again, I'm not focusing on rules where I just forgot to, you know, take a bonus I was supposed to get, or I added 1 and 1 and got 3. These are actual rules I goofed up. Next up on Galaxy Trucker, oh yeah, this was a major thing. Jen totally cleaned my clock in large part because she did so well with her lasers. And the reason she did that is because she had 2 purple aliens on her ship. That was totes cheating. You can only have 1 brown and 1 purple alien, and 1 blue with the expansion type of alien on your ship. So you cannot put a second one. So Jen should not have done anywhere near as well as she did because she did not have as much firepower as we thought. Also, you cannot put aliens into the captain's quarters, the tile that starts. So just a slight goof there. And then finally, oops, I just minimized. Oh dear. Right, Galaxy Truckers. Oh, I didn't actually do this, I didn't get this wrong, but I mentioned it in passing, that if you completely run out of crew during the actual cruise portion of the game, your ship, it's like you don't have any thrust in open space and you have to get towed back. So you don't get to keep going if you run out of crew. So FYI on that, don't let it happen to you. You want to make it all the way to the finish line, don't use up all your crew. Okay, so that was it for Galaxy Trucker. Moving on to Libertalia. Now amazingly, I don't believe I made any notable rules goofs on Libertalia. I forgot to, you know, I maybe got some stuff mixed up, but I didn't make any rules goofs. But I do want to mention something that I didn't know at the time I filmed. And it's a pretty big deal. I should have mentioned it because a lot of people have pointed out to me, and I've looked into it now. The 6 colored decks that come with Libertalia, not all decks are created equal. And some decks are particularly strong against other decks. And because of this, a lot of people have actually crunched the numbers and have recognized the fact that if you're playing with 6, then everything's cool, everything's balanced, everything has nice interplay between all 6 players. But if you're playing with 2, 3, 4, or 5, you should be playing with specific mixes of colors. Now, I don't remember all the rules, but I do remember specifically in a 2-player game, you should be playing with black and red because those 2 decks are balanced against each other. Now you can learn more about that. I'll put a link in the show notes to the thread that talks about it, etc., etc., if you want to look into more. But just FYI, if you're playing with less than 6 in Libertalia, you really should be choosing specific decks. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert, but I read the thread and it made sense to me. So you can read the thread yourself and learn more and decide if it's right for you. Next up, Kemet. Oh my gosh, I made so many goofs, so many dumb mistakes. Lots of, you know, when I would evacuate a temple, I forgot to give back the temporary victory point, and I thought I could move 2 spaces, but I could only move 1. Just dumb stuff like that. But rules-wise, here's a few key things that stuck out. 1. When you're spawning new units onto the map, they can only spawn into your city. They can't spawn elsewhere. I didn't actually do that, but I did state that at one point, and that was totally wrong. They have to spawn in your city. Number 2, same thing is true for monsters. The monster powers you've gotten, they can only spawn in the city. If a given troop has a monster and that troop gets wiped out, the monster doesn't just immediately go to some other troop that's out in the world somewhere. They can only spawn in the city. So that's big, that's an important thing too. And then, yeah, so I mean, those are actually the main things. Those are like the rules errors as opposed to just dumb goofs I made along the way. Okay. A lovely little game, 101. How could I possibly make any rules errors on that? It was such a simple game, a two-person, 10, 15-minute card game. But I plead the fifth, or not the fifth, I plead innocent. Innocent, I tell you, because it's not my fault I made the mistake. It turns out the rules I was playing by were from an earlier version that have been updated. And so I was playing wrong because I was playing older rules. Here's what I did wrong. On any code line in 101, I repeatedly talked about how there's a tiebreaker, that if the majority is split between the two players, whoever got there first breaks the tie and wins the line. In the full game, in the full shipping game, there is no tiebreaker on lines. So if somebody's doing really, really good, you can basically take that line away from them by just tying them. And that's a big deal. That has a huge impact on the game. I think makes it overall a little bit more balanced. So FYI, I was playing wrong because I had an older version of the rules. Okay, redacted. This was another one. Wow, gosh, honestly, I'm surprised I didn't make more mistakes in this one because I was playing for 4 players at once. But, the biggest error that I made, I already fixed in the video. That whole thing about 2 agents can never end a turn in the same place. They always, if there's 2 agents in the same place, even in a darkened room, one of them has to sneak out. Now, I already fixed that in the video, but there were a couple of other fairly significant rules mistakes too. The biggest one being that, where is it? Hidden weapons. If you and I are having a duel and and you win, and I say I don't like that. Remember I talked about how you can pull out the hidden gun, the hidden weapon. What I said in the video was that that's an instant win. It just automatically wins. That's not the case. What it automatically does is it ups your chances in the duel. So basically, if you were winning and I was losing and I pull out the secret weapon, I go from losing to a tie. If we were both tied and I pull out the secret weapon, I go from tied to winning. So it basically bumps me up one. It isn't an automatic guaranteed win. So, and this was a major thing. Man, I need to go back and play the game some more myself. I talked in the variants video about how the 2-player game works, about how it's a semi-co-op because we're both pursuing our own goals, but if too many guards show up in the embassy, we both lose. And I incorrectly stated, because we incorrectly understood, that once you hit 4 guards, that's the losing condition. Turns out that's wrong. And that's why Jen and I had a really hard time. We found the co-op, the semi-co-op game to be incredibly challenging. Actually, it's 5. Once the 5th guard has to come out, that's when both players lose. So that's a big, big goof I made. Well, I'm happy to set the record straight for redacted. Okay, moving on to Fidelitas. Here's another one. I can't believe I made mistakes in that because it's such a simple little game. But the designer did point out that the card I made a mistake on, it is kind of worded a little vaguely and is prone to misinterpretation. So I'm going to blame the game card, not me. But here's the deal. The Swindler, I used him quite a bit in the video. He was the card that basically when you put him down on a stack of cards, he protects, or he blocks off everybody so you cannot manipulate anybody that the Swindler is sitting on top of. What I didn't realize is the Swindler himself is also protected. So you cannot manipulate the Swindler or anybody he's sitting on top of. Whereas me, I had it wrong in the video. I could manipulate him. You cannot manipulate the Swindler at all. At least not unless you get 3 guards to that area and you get him and everybody else arrested. All right, so that was a mistake. And then also, again, this was another one where the card is a little bit vague, and they are working on making this clearer in the card text. The Barrister, when you, oh no, actually that's not true. They have changed, this is another case where they've changed the rules. The Barrister now officially, if you play the Barrister, which I believe is a girl if I recall correctly, to use her special power, you give up your opportunity to draw a card at the end of the round. I was drawing cards after I played her, because I played her several times. That was wrong. The rules have officially changed. You do not get to draw a card because that card, the Barrister itself, is so powerful. All right, on to asking for Trobils. Okay, first of all, now this is back to me just being a total airhead. I don't know where this came from. I mentioned a couple times in the video that there was a variant for how you draw cards when you go to the pirate planet and all that. I mentioned like a couple times, yeah, there's a variant where you can draw multiples and keep one. There is no variant like that. I don't know why I thought that. That variant does not exist. Strike it from the record. Let us never speak of it again. And then the other one, now this is actually another change that has happened after me doing the run through, so just FYI. The bounty hunter deck has changed. If you draw a, if you draw the card that says, keep digging through the deck until you find a bounty hunter, or no, I'm sorry, no. Yeah, if you draw a bounty hunter card, the bounty hunter card says, keep drawing through the deck until you find a pirate. And I did that in the video, and you end up like digging through half the deck before you find a pirate. It's officially changed now. Whenever you draw a bounty hunter card, you just immediately take whatever the next card is. So that's a slight change, FYI. I'm sure there'll be more information about it in the final rules. Okay, we're getting close, folks. Carnival Zombie. Oh my gosh, this I probably had a higher ratio of mistakes than any game I've made in a long, long time. And again, most of them are really, really stupid. I forgot to use a special power, or I was standing in the wrong place or something like that. But there were a couple of pretty big, sizable rules mistakes. First one being, I used the Captain Terror, wrong throughout the whole video. His special power of giving orders to others, I don't know why I thought this. He had to be in a space with other players. That's not the way it works. Basically, those little order chits he has, it doesn't matter where he is relative to everybody else, he just takes an order chit and places it on a space, and everybody in that space gets to follow the order. So, I got that entirely wrong. My apologies. And then the other one, you know the pile of bones, one of the coolest things about the game, the little dexterity game? I mistakenly played, because I didn't realize the game was a little bit more friendly than I thought it was. If you goof up in that little dexterity game and multiple undead zombies fall out of the piles of bones, you still only take 1 stress point of damage. I thought you took damage equal to the number of cubes that fell off, but that's wrong. You only take 1, no matter how much you blew it. Okay, almost there, folks. Just 2 more. Suburbia Inc. Very quickie one. I talked about this a lot in the video. One of the objectives I had was I misunderstood it that you had to actually get a full set of every type of building, but that wasn't quite right. It was just like the sum total of all those buildings, not the sum total of sets of those buildings. Subtle thing, but very, very important, so I just thought I'd mention that in passing. Because actually, when I got that wrong, it ended up prompting this whole thread about, well, am I right? Am I wrong? Which way is it? The rules aren't 100% clear, etc., etc. But that's the reality of it. And then the last one, drum roll. Hey, this is another one where the rules are very unclear. And in fact, the designers had to go online several times to correct this. It has to do with changing player order. In the run-through I did, because this is the way the rules are actually worded, they're worded kind of funky, I would, at the end of a round, the player order marker would switch from one player to another. And then that would affect how the voting would work at the end of a round. That's wrong. The player order switches hands at the beginning of a round, not at the end of a round. So that is a big, big deal. Let me make sure I got that right. You change player order at the start of a round, not at the end. And so that could fundamentally change how the voting works entirely. And it certainly would have made a big difference in the run-through I did. Okay, folks, thanks for your patience. That was a quickie 11 corrections I just had to bang through today before I hit the road for Gen Con tomorrow. And that's it. As always, questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Thanks, everybody, for setting the record straight, because then I can make these videos to, purge myself of my sins and atone for all my grievous errors to you, the viewing public. And I'm going to stop right there because I'm running out of adjectives, I think. And talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.